Everybody, not really any intro because I don't have a lot of time. So, just quickly, thank you for watching the last two if you have. I know they've been pretty long. I'm going to try to cut this one a little bit down, try to make it 20-25 minutes. And now we're getting to the cream of the crop where I have a lot more opinions, or like concise opinions on these rather than the other ones. So hopefully this should be going a little bit quicker. So I hope you enjoyed this next one. Alright, number 30 is Studio Zoo by Newton Faulkner. Now, for those who don't know about him, he is from England, and he put out his debut album like 7 or 8 years ago. It's called Hand Built by Robots, and it is an amazing CD. It's one of my favorite CDs of all time, and I never knew about him until my friend Gracie told me about him. So he's an amazing singer-songwriter, very upbeat, and just a lot of great guitar and songwriting ideas. Came out with another CD a little bit later. Good, but not as good as the first CD. Then he came out with last year, Write It On Your Skin. And it was another great CD, just not as good as the first one. Probably the weakest of the bunch, even though Write It On Your Skin is a beautiful song and very, very cool idea. Just not as memorable. So I was surprised to hear that not only was he coming out with a new CD the following year, but it was surprising to hear he was self-producing it. The concept he had, he put cameras all over his house and recorded his process, and he actually live streamed it online in a thing called Studio Zoo, where you could watch the process happen, and there was 4 different cameras to see what was happening. And it was really cool. I watched a little bit of it every now and then to see what was happening. And it's just really cool to watch the process. But in terms of music, how does it stack up? It's definitely a lot better than the last CD. I think it's a lot more complex, and I do like the overall feel of it being self-produced, where it's free of a lot of the stuff that you get if you like overdub stuff or put in more music than it actually is, because it's just him recording the music, so he can only do what he can, and it feels a lot more natural compared to some other CDs. Now, unfortunately, if you listen to some of the singles online, they actually dub it more. Like Indecisive, they dub more. Also, Losing Ground, they put a little bit more into it. And it's not bad, it just becomes overproduced sometimes. So it's really cool to hear a natural sound. And that's what you get with the CD. There's a lot of good songs. First off, like I said, Indecisive, Losing Ground. I love Treading Water, and it's a really cool idea. He does a lot of held chords while tapping on his guitar. Waiting on You is a beautiful song, talking about growing up and the life you live, even though like things can get hard. All this is waiting on you. Orange Skies is a great ending song. Plastic Hearts is a really cool song too. All in all, it's a great CD. It tends to lose a little bit of steam at the end, but it's a lot of fun. And people have been bashing this CD because, he has this happy sound. And I understand that people sometimes want a more mature sound with things, but my argument is, why is happy bad? Why is it bad to be happy? I mean, we're trying to strive for that all the time. If I remember correctly, before his first album, Newton Faulkner was waiting 10 years, to finally make it. And after all this time in trying and, having gigs that failed, he finally made it. So why not be happy? I think with happiness, you can still be mature and still have, very thoughtful ideas. So I see no problem with it. But again, this is only, singer-songwriters, I think, would love this. It does have definitely a natural sound, and sometimes it does feel a little bit thin, but if you can get past that, it's a great CD. All right, number 29 is called The Migrant by the Deer Hunters. This was a band that I have never even heard of until my friend Justin told me about it. I was asking him what his favorite what his favorite band was, and he told me Deer Hunter, and I was working on a little project for him about that, and like every time I looked up at it on Spotify, like the ideas and the concepts that they seem to have were really interesting to me, and I finally sat down and listened to the whole discography. And I can definitely say, as a prog rock fan, they are one of the coolest prog rock bands I've ever heard, and they're not necessarily that metal. It's just their ideas are very cool, and for those of you who don't know about them, they are from the Boston area. They actually, a couple of them are from Sunderland and the Amherst area as well, so they come up from around here, and it's really cool to know of a band from around this area, and a very successful band at that. And their ideas, though, the idea that they have is a 6-part album, and they've only gone through the first 3, and then they did a couple of other ideas. But the first 3 so far are some of my favorite albums that I've ever heard. Just really cool idea, and a lot of cool ways of repeating ideas throughout each CD to remind yourself that this is a concept and a concept that spans throughout the whole entire CD discography. But they've taken a break from it. The CD after that was called The Color Spectrum, and it's 36 songs of each from different like color ideas. So like 4 from each one. They had like red, black, blue, green. And it's cool, but I honestly don't really like it that much because there is a lot of... It's a lot... it's not as progressive as some of their other stuff, so it does fall short on that. But this is about Migrant, the CD that came out this year, and it does still stay on a little bit of more popular side than progressive side, but that's not a bad thing. It clocks in at 50 minutes, which is pretty short compared to their CDs, which I believe are like 60 or 70 minutes usually. And it doesn't have an overarching theme. It's just their songs. And I would say this is the most approachable CD that they have. Some of these songs do feel incomplete, so bear that in mind when you're listening to the CD. It's a beautiful CD, but some of these start very well and then just completely feel like, where is this going? For example, This Vicious Place has that. Sweet Naivety, Let Go, all 3 of them feel a little bit short and feel like they're not full. But again, what I love about this CD is that even though it is approachable, it still has a lot of those progressive and jazz ideas that you don't really hear in rock. Shine at the Rain, their lead single, is great, and even though it's very commonplace in terms of rock, it still shows the range of the singer. Let's see. Don't Look Back is a beautiful ending song. Whisper is another popular rock kind of idea. Shame has a lot of jazz feel to it. Bring You Down is really cool because it messes with the time signature, and it feels a lot different than what it actually is. And then Sweet Naivety is a beautiful song, as well as Let Go and This Vicious Place. Again, even though they're incomplete, they are still very beautiful. So if you want to get into a band like this is the most approachable one. I would say listen to this, and then if you feel that you like this, start listening to I would say then next listen to The Color Spectrum, because that is also approachable. And then once you get past that, then listen to the first 3 acts, because they are beautiful and have a lot of cool ideas. Alright, number 28 is Bastille, Bad Blood. I never heard of this band until my friend Danny posted a song for Wicked Pitch called Pompeii, and everyone was all on board. I had never heard of it, so I took a listen to it, and I was blown away by what it was, because it's a popular song, but it has so much depth to it. And then I went from there to listen to Things We Lost in the Fire, and I liked that one too, so it's like, why not just listen to the whole CD and see what I think? and I thought it was really good. It's one of the best popular rock CDs that I've heard in a while. Um, it reminds me a lot of Coldplay. Not maybe not as sophisticated as Coldplay, but definitely up there. And when I love the CD, I can remember almost every song on it. Flaws is a great single. Things Lost in the Fire, Pompeii. Uh, Daniel and Den is a very underrated song on there. Icarus is great. Let's see. Get Home, great way to end the CD. And honestly, the top one for me is Oblivion because it's such a beautiful, sparse song, and it's very simple, but it's really haunting for what it is, and just a great overall CD. And the best part is that not one every song sounds different. It has its own unique feel to it. So if you're looking for a popular band with a lot of different ideas, that's one you should listen to. A lot of people are panning it because of that, but I think it just makes it better because you don't have the same idea over and over again. If there is one bad thing about it, I would say their lyrics tend to feel a little thin sometimes, but overall, it's not doesn't destroy the CD. So it's a great CD to listen to. And if you are interested, they actually do have a deluxe part called All This Bad Blood, which turns the CD from a 44, 52-minute CD to an 84-minute CD. Not a bad thing. I don't remember a lot of the deluxe stuff, but if you are interested, take a listen to that as well. Alright, number 27 is Frank Turner's Tape Deck Heart. Now, just a quick background. I actually had seen Frank Turner a long time ago, I believe 2009, 2010, because I went to see The Offspring in Sum 41 at the UMass Lowell rink. And the opener was this guy just playing acoustic guitar, and I thought really nothing of him, but I thought it was cool because he blended a lot of punk ideas with acoustic guitar. And I totally forgot about him, and then when I looked him up again, I remembered, oh my god, I've seen him before. So I was interested, and one of my other friends was telling me about him and like how good he was. So I was like, why not take a listen again? So I listened to the first song called Recovery, and I was blown away. Because I think the best part about Frank Turner is his lyrics. He's very in-your-face type of thing, very personal, great storyteller, but, has an edge to him, like a punk edge. So it makes it that much better. And then The Way I Tend to Be is a great song. Plain Sailing Weather is probably the best song on the CD in terms of just a fuck you type of feel. But also the lyrics are great. That's what sells the CD is the storytelling that he has. The music isn't that great, but I think everything else, you just have to listen to the lyrics, and you can feel how much effort he puts into all these songs. Another great song is Losing Days. Telltale Signs is a beautiful song and deep with depression, definitely. I think that if I remember the chorus right, it's you used to remind me of scars on my arms that I gave when I was a kid, with a disposable razor blade that I hid from my dad, because of suffering so profound. Talking about like trying to feel pain because suffering is so profound. It's really, really cool. So definitely a person to listen to in terms of if you really like storytelling and just like in your face storytelling. I would say the bottom half of the CD tends to get a little bit stale, but if you're just there for storytelling, great CD to listen to. All right, number 26 is Talib Kweli's Prisoner of Conscience. Now, I'd never have heard of him until I listened to one of the acapella groups at UMass do a version of his song "Get By," and I thought it was cool. And then I remembered about that when I saw Talib Kweli on the list of things I should listen to. And in terms of CD rap CDs this year, it's probably maybe my third or second favorite by this list, because it doesn't do anything that amazing, but it's really produced very well. All the music to it is really cool. Has a lot of classical and jazz feels to it, and it just works very well for a rap CD, and it works very well with his style of lyrics. It's a lot more like government ideas and like fighting against the government, fighting against stereotypes and culture stereotypes. Um, so the way that he produces it, it works very well. Right off the bat, Human Mike is a well made song by him, and it just shows his flow, and it works very well with the string background. And it's a short song, but it's just really really cool, and it hooked me onto it. And then you have "Come Here," which is a beautiful song about romance, and the chorus works well with his lyrics. And then you have "Hamster Wheel," which is the one that I remember the most. And then you have Favela Love, which is also a great Spanish flair to it. It's the word that I honestly think about it is beautiful, and even with all these ideas about social change and government, it's still beautifully crafted. Why it's only 26 is because out of all these 10 that I'm talking about today, it's not as memorable as some of the other ones, but with all the songs I just talked about, it makes me want to listen to it just that much more. Come after I finish this CD, this list, honestly, definitely a sleeper CD, sleeper rap CD. All right, number 25 is Childish Gambino's "Because of the Internet." Now this is another one that surprised me in terms of like Beyonce, where it came out of nowhere. It came out in December, and not a lot of people talked about it. The only way I found out was from a friend back home saying like, "Hey, you know that he has a rap CD out?" It's like, no way, definitely take a listen to it. And I thought it was going to be a lot of his style because he is a very funny character, but it's actually very very dark. Is people want to say that that Kanye West CD is dark? His blows it out of the water, and it's because of the kind of ideas that come out. This is, from what I can gather, it's a concept album of, you know, how the internet has desensitized us, and then, you know, what the internet has done, how it helps us all out throughout, you know, being able to access information that much easier, but also how much we are slaves to it, honestly. And then it kind of goes in with, if I remember correctly, it's the character makes a party invite on Facebook, you know, invites people to his house, and then he goes crazy and tries to kill somebody. That's from what I can understand. If I'm completely wrong on it, if someone who has listened to the CD can let me know, please let me know, because there are some things I still don't understand, but the concept itself is really cool, and it's very dark, and it just reminds me a lot of like the Downward Spiral by Nine Inch Nails, where it's a guy who seems to be sane and then suddenly just keeps going down and down, and the music portrays it that well. In terms of songs, memorable songs, there isn't honestly that much to it. I would say 3005, World Star, The Party are memorable to me, but then again, I think this CD is more about the experience itself than the particular songs. So don't listen to this as just a song by song. You need to listen to this on a whole if you're going to listen to the CD. And it's 57 minutes, so it's somewhat long, but it's worth all the time. So if you love rap and you love these outlandish ideas, take a listen to it. It's sad that it didn't get the publicity that it got, especially with how well I think that the CD was produced and how far steps Childish Gambino took from his previous album. So that's that. We got 24, and it's actually funny that I talked about Downward Spiral because number 24 is Nine Inch Nails' Hesitation Marks. for those who don't know, Trent Reznor had a amazing year, at least in my experience, my personal belief, because not only did he have this CD, but he worked on two CDs that made my top 10. So you'll see that in the future, and I will talk about that eventually. But this CD, I was so excited to hear, especially when I heard "Came Back Haunted." It felt a little bit different, a little bit more popular, but it was a cool song and my favorite on the CD. And then you had a lot of that pop dubstep kind of feel with a copy of a All Time Low felt like that a little bit. But the interesting thing is, even though it has this more pop feel, this is probably the most pop feeling album that Nine Inch Nails has made. It works because it's his style of pop. Everything is probably the most pop song that I've ever heard him produce, and it still works very well. So, unfortunately, though, if I were to rank this in terms of all these CDs that Nine Inch Nails has come out with, I'd probably put it in the middle because it doesn't feel as sharp as some of the other ones, and that pop does tend to get in the way sometimes. But and all in all, it just is amazing CD, and all these songs are very memorable. Satellite, all time low, disappointed, copy of Came Back Haunted, I Would Do For You, everything, like all these, and that's the majority of the CD. It is 61 minutes, so it is pretty long. But then again, a lot of Nine Inch Nails CDs are very long, so if you're a Nine Inch Nails fan, it's nothing that you're not going to, be mad like, oh, it's 61 minutes. How dare he put this long of a CD out? It definitely isn't as dark as Downward Spiral, and I would say it's a little bit more popular than with Teeth, but it's a great addition to his lineup. And as you can see, he'll be playing large roles in some of the other CDs I talked about down the line. So that's number 24. Number 23 is John Legend's Love in the Future. The one word I can say about this CD is beautiful, gorgeous. I've loved John Legend since he's, put out CDs. I love Everybody Knows, Green Light, some of his bigger songs. Ordinary People is the go-to sound for me in terms of R&B piano. And I was really excited to listen to this, and it didn't disappoint. It does feel a lot longer than the 49 minutes because there are a lot of songs on there, and also there's a deluxe version, which makes it a little bit longer. But all these songs are absolutely beautiful. Made to Love was really cool. It has like a tribal feel to it, but it works very well. The Beginning is a great song, and also samples Winter Song, which is a song that we did in Wicked Pitch. So it was really cool to hear that in a different light. All of Me, probably the top 5 of best songs of 2013. And if you don't agree, tell me, why was it so popular then? Because it's beautiful. And it's not one of these songs that are just, amazing because it was popular. This actually proved that it was a great song. I want to make a acapella version of it down the line because it begs for that. Caught Up, the last track on the album, is also beautiful, and it goes back to a lot of his older stuff, and it's always in my head, honestly. And for this is a CD where you need to listen to the deluxe edition because it has a song called "We Loved It" with Seal, and it's a great edition. It should have been on the. Honestly, I thought it should have been on the original CD, but it wasn't. But that's why you listen to Spotify, because you can hear the deluxe edition. And why it's not as high as some of this other stuff is because some of the songs aren't as memorable, but overall it's just a beautiful CD to listen to. Even if you put it on for just background music, it's just really, really cool to listen to. I would say, honestly, it is the top 3 most beautiful CDs of 2013. Alright, 2 more in about 24 minutes, so let's try to make this pretty quick. Number 22 is Arctic Monkeys, Am. I almost cooked this off of my list before. I did all my top 50 and I did that, and then I looked back at some CDs and I almost left it off. Only because I forgot about it. The first time I listened to it, it didn't strike me as much, but it's probably because I was doing a lot of work at the same time, so I wasn't stimulated to listen to the music. I was more paying attention to my work. But when I listened to it again, I forgot how much I loved it. And a lot of people have been telling me, oh, this is the best CD of 2013, easily up there. You know, it got a lot of accolades. It got ones across the board from a lot of people. It was number 9 in Rolling Stone. Why I have it so low is because I don't remember a lot of it, and I've only listened to it twice. So if I listen to it again, it might be in my top 10. But as of right now, I couldn't have put it up there with all the other top ones I had up there. But it's just a great CD to listen to. And honestly, I don't really like party CDs, but this is the CD in terms of, you know, how to make a party album. Because I love rock and I love this type of rock, and it infuses so well with the ideas that they're using. Also, it was really cool to know that when I was looking this up, I didn't know that Josh Homme from Queens of the Stone Age worked on this CD. And it was cool because apparently the lead singer of Arctic Monkeys actually worked with Josh Homme on his CD that came out this year, and that will be somewhere on this list, but I will not tell you where it is just yet. You have to find out for yourself. I just think it's really cool because there are a lot of party themes, but at the same time, the rock to me makes it that much better. Do I Want to Know has been stuck in my head for weeks now, ever since I listened to it again, and I think it's one of the coolest music videos to come out in a long time. If you've not seen it, definitely take a look at it because it's really cool, and for an animated music video, it has a lot of things I've never seen before. Are You Mine? Cake is another single that just reminds me of their older work, but a more polished song. Number 1 party anthem. Can I say more? Like, it is number 1 party anthem, but it's not like number 1 party anthem. It's more rock than anything. And then Why Are You Only Calling When You're High? Another one of those types of songs. So it's really cool to hear a party album that is more rock infused than some of this other stuff. So I don't think I need to say more because I think most of you have heard the CD. If not, definitely take a listen to it, especially if you like rock and party albums. Number 21, the last one for today, is Justin Timberlake's The 2020 Experience Part 2. Now, I talked about one particular album that was on here that... one particular artist that had 2 albums on here, and it is Justin Timberlake. I was going to put them both together, but at the same time, I felt like it was not fair to do that because these are 2 totally different albums for the 2020 experience. And, you know, it was very hard to distinguish between both of them sometimes. I will say the reason why this one's lower is because it is a long album. I believe it's 71 minutes. But unlike the previous album, which I'll eventually talk about, it overstays its welcome a lot. Whereas the first album had a lot more ideas that kept going and made it feel like you want to listen to these songs. This one was a little bit more like, here's the song, I'm going to extend this for no reason and then do a little bit more. The perfect example is the last song, where there's a secret song halfway through, and it's a 13-minute song, and the secret song is 6 minutes. But there isn't much to it. It's just an acoustic guitar and him repeating a lot of stuff, and it just doesn't really work that well. But everything else with this album is great. Every song is a lot deeper than some of the other ones, and it just spans a lot of different ideas. Drink You Away is a great country, like, fuck you song. I can't drink you away. I tried Jack, I've tried Dren, I've tried all my friends, but I can't drink you away. Give Me What I Don't Know is a great starting song, though I do wish it went a little bit differently. That's just me. Murder, Cabaret, both have rap in it, and honestly, it's from Drake and Jay-Z, and those are two of the best songs that they've actually worked on this year, which is funny because they had two CDs that came out that I think were lackluster. Then you have Take Back the Night, which definitely fuses, Michael Jackson ideas, and it's a great song, and it's probably, out of both CDs, I think that's the best song out of either of them. And just like the whole CD has all these great songs. Only When I Walk Away is chilling, and it's a very different song from anything else. Amnesia doesn't. It's kind of weird. Amnesia has like a Pirates of the Caribbean feel. If you listen to it, you feel like pirate songs. And what I like about both CDs is that there's a lot of acapella ideas that can come from it. I think eventually I wanted to make acapella songs of both of them, from both of them. But as of right now, unfortunately, the only reason why it's so low is because it tends to drag on. Some of the songs tend to drag on compared to the other ones. And if I had to put one over the other, I was definitely going to put the number one first. So now you know that two of the CDs are bound to be up here later. But here's 30 through 21. Hope you guys like it. It was a little bit shorter than the last one. There is one album on there, the Newton Faulkner CD, that you will not be able to find on YouTube or Spotify, or probably SoundCloud. So I'm going to put the link up there when I find it, because I honestly can't remember where I listened to it either. But let me know what you guys think. I'll try to make the next one a little bit shorter, but hope you guys liked it, and I'll see you tomorrow for part 4.